Welcome back to the PigSkin podcast. This is season 2, episode 13, I want to say now. Please always remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. This will be our College Football Week 7. College Football Week 7, NFL Week 6 recap. We're going to have to talk about Red River and the happenings in Norman, and then talk a little bit more some college ball, and then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes. I think we both enjoyed a pretty good Sunday. Both me and Sebastian did. So right now, got the Bills Jets game on, which need the Bills to win this game by at least 2, and I will have successfully bet 90% of the games that I bet on Bovada this weekend. So come on, Aaron, piss me off like you always do. So going ahead and getting into it. Do you want to start with OU Texas, or you want to go somewhere maybe a little bit more fortunate and then move back to OU Texas? It's your call.
We can just get it out of the way.
Okay. All right. So, OU wins 3-0. That would be what we came out here and said if football was only a 15-minute game, but it's not. So, yes, OU lost 34-3. Yes, was it just completely and just utterly disgusting? Yes. Did Texas go out and beat the absolute shit out of OU? On defense, yes. The defense held their own. Like I said, the first quarter was a perfectly pitched game. I mean, the defense came out. Quinn was not looking good. Quinn couldn't get his feet underneath him, just was struggling, couldn't do anything. And, of course, much like in the Tennessee game, when OU's defense stepped up and forced turnovers and put the offense in positive situations, the offense did nothing, absolutely nothing to pretty much thank the defense for it. First drive, I thought was something to I thought it was good. I thought they did some good things. But then they kind of went back to it in weird ways that didn't work. I think they ran sprint and draw fucking 42 times, and it worked maybe twice. Bauer Sharp, done with him blocking. I have been for a while. I don't know. It was all bad. I really don't know where to go. Play calling looked bad. On the third play of the game, we took a deep shot. Michael Hawkins almost hits J.J. Hester, just a little bit out of his reach, almost hits J.J. Hester in the end zone. And then we never threw another deep shot. I think really the three best players from this game for the University of Oklahoma, Eli Bowen, Zion Kearney, Luke Elzinga. And the fact that we keep having to say Luke Elzinga has been one of OU's best and most consistent players is as annoying as it is impressive to watch him go out and consistently do what he does. Because on the punt where he down Texas at the 11, I want to say, they had 2 false starts back to back. And then he literally just says, fuck it, and then puts the ball inside the 20. And just does what he does. So Luke Elzinga at this point and the punt coverage team has been my MVP for this whole season. I mean, just it looked like the Tennessee game. Defense was pitching a shutout. They were doing better than they did in the Tennessee game. They didn't give up anything big. They were pitching a shutout, and then Texas gets a little bit of momentum. Offense is careless with the football. Texas gets all the momentum, and then they just end up running away with it. So if only the first and third quarter mattered, Texas wins this game 6-3, but unfortunately the second and fourth quarter happened too. So that was an awful kick, but I'm over it at this point. I've had 48 hours to sit and sulk, and the Packers kicked ass, which we'll get into later. So I really don't have a whole lot to get into this. It's just discombobulated. It's a mess. No one knows what they're doing. No one can execute well. We're play calling like it's I heard Josh McQueen say this. It's like a paint by numbers at this point. They just keep going back to the same set of. It's like what is that thing called where they give babies and you pull it down? It's like the cow says, the see and say. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Seth Luttrell's up there with the C and say, and he just pulls the thing down, and whatever it spins and lands on, that's what it is. And it's some stupid variation of inside zone, which Texas is susceptible to that they didn't run. But it's just got a whole bunch of plays on it that haven't worked or that they haven't set up. A lot of the plays they run are like secondary type plays, right? But that's the problem when your offense has no identity. You can't run the ball, so therefore you can't throw the ball. But because you can't run the ball and you can't throw the ball, you try to get creative and you try to throw in some counters. You try to throw in some pin pull. You try to throw in some play action. And because it's not set up by something that actually works, because nothing works, you then can't do the things that are supposed to be set up by something that works. Again, because nothing works. At this point, like I told Sebastian, I would have rather them just had Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley walk home from Dallas holding hands, and then when they got to the Switzer Center on fucking hopefully next Tuesday, if they would have made it by then, all their shit's just in boxes on the front. So I don't know. There really is no fix at this point. OU's going to have to fight like hell to win 2 out of their last 6 games, go 6-6, hopefully play a shitty team in the bowl, in a bowl game, so we don't have another 6-7 season. But at this point, I'm focused on keeping the recruiting class together, getting a new offensive coordinator, and I'm focused on 2025. So I don't know where your thoughts are. I don't know if you think we need to throw Jackson back in there and just try to pick a guy and let a quarterback go do it. Not that anything's going to be done, but just try to build some confidence, or at least put a quarterback out there and let them know they're the guy. So we're going to be sticking with them in the future. I don't know. I really don't. But at this point, the only people I want to stay from the offensive staff, coaching staff that is Emmett Jones. And I only say Bill Bedenbaugh at this point because I'm pretty fucking over it, because I don't want the recruiting class to go away. So outside of that, defense looked good. Defense looked great. And then because they just kept getting thrown into shitty situation after shitty situation after shitty situation, just kind of fell apart at the end. I have nothing else to say in this game. So
we're Iowa. I mean,
we're worse than Iowa.
I think I'd rather have Iowa's offense at this point.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Or their offense from old. I mean, I've never wanted to like go into a locker room more than this Oklahoma locker room to hear what like that team has to say, because like divide's already happening. Like the defense is fed up. I don't know who to blame, honestly. Like it just because I don't know. I don't know who it is. Like obviously Brent Venables is the head coach, so like he starts at the top, kind of over it. I'm happy with what he's done with our defense and hiring Zach Allen and hiring the guys that we got, because they're all talented, but there's just no progress being made. And I guess you could say like, yeah, offensive coordinator is the issue because it didn't look like this under Jeff Levy. I just don't understand, because I've seen Seth Luttrell's offense. Like it's not like it was never this bad at North Texas. Like they moved the ball on the field. They had explosive plays. Like it just I don't know. And Joe John Finley, I don't know. The tight ends haven't been great, and I think they're very talented tight ends. Like I think Devon Mitchell would be an extremely talented tight end and work in like a good offense. And I think, I think a lot, but like I really do believe that. Like we have talent on the field. It's just it's regressing. And I know there's only so much you can do when there's true freshmen out there that probably just aren't ready to play. Like you need your coach. Like true freshmen on either side of the ball are gonna be like excellent depending on what position that coach is, like excels in. Jay Jackson, true freshman, he can go out there and play it. He knows what it looks like. He knows how to coach it up. Ryan Williams at Alabama, like he's a true freshman sensation. Kalen DeBoer's an offensive guy. Put a true freshman, defensive player out there for Alabama, it's probably not going to look great. Like it's weird. Like I don't really know how to explain it, but I've noticed that trend. True freshmen under this depleted offense, it's going to make them all look bad. Like I don't really know how to explain. Like I don't know what the problem. Obviously, like injuries are an absolute problem, but like it shouldn't ever look that bad. Never look that bad, because Oklahoma recruits that kind of talent. Like we made fun of Texas for a long time for this, and they finally figured it out and fixed it. So props to them. Texas is a really good football team. Like,
yeah,
I absolutely believe that Texas is a natty team, 100%. Like, Sarkisian, he's done a fantastic job. You got to call it for what it is. Like, he's put it together, and so, like, credit to him for figuring things out and getting things rolling the right way. Sometimes luck has to go your way, and it has. But Texas, it's like 20% luck because they've had some injuries, but it's been like running back.
yeah.
Guess what? See, Sarkisian has good running backs regardless. So, I don't know. Like, I just can't explain it. Like, I feel bad for anybody that had to watch that game that's not a fan of either team. That sucked. I don't know. You got to make the right hire. I was never a big fan of the hire anyway because I felt, hey, maybe we should do a little bit of research, and I didn't think it'd be this bad though.
Yeah, I didn't.
Felt kind of like a lazy hire.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I don't know. At this point,
and knowing Brent Venables too, like, he's such an X's and O's, like, details kind of guy. Like, he knows that you need to have all three phases. Like, you need to have special teams, offense, defense, all excelling if you want to be a really good football team and have a good season. So, like, I don't know. Like, he has to make a difficult decision. Like, I'm sure he doesn't want to fire, like, some of those offensive coaches, but that's kind of how it goes. Sometimes, like, you have to make a tough decision. Maybe he wants to see what happens when those guys are back, when Deion Burks. He'll probably be, who knows, he's going to have to come back now. If that offense isn't good and he's not putting up the numbers, his draft stock is going to go down. Nick Anderson, he's going to have to come back too. Like, all those guys are probably going to have to come back, and it's ruined their chance to go to the NFL because they're going to be stuck with a shitty offensive system.
Well, here's the thing, Brent. In regards to the hire, Brent's going to have to hire someone to keep his job. As good as the defense has been.
I know. That's what sucks, is as good as, like, the recruiting classes have been and how bad the defense has been, you make one bad hire, it can completely derail whatever you thought this team was going to be. Yeah. And they had the talent to do it. But at that point, like, if he messes it up again, he's got to be gone. Like, he has to. Like, yeah. we have to talk about that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It is at the point to where it's such a drastic fuck up on the offensive side of the ball that if he goes 0 for 2, he's done. And I hate to say it, I really do. But if you can't get someone to consistently do great evaluation and hire great coaches, because that's the other thing. Brent knows what great offenses look like.
That's why he brought Jeff Lebby over. Lebby, we had a top 5 offense under Jeff Lebby.
Exactly.
Like, he knows what it looks like. So you're right. Like, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, whose scheme is this? Like, there's no way that doesn't. That's another thing.
I feel like Seth Luttrell is trying to run Jeff Lebby's offense instead of Seth Luttrell's offense because he's an air raid guy. He's not this RPO fucking. I don't know. I just it's fucked up.
Sprint out. Like, I would have rather just had, like, halfback dive.
Why don't we just drop back and throw the fucking football? That's my biggest concern.
Why does it have to be? Yeah. Why does it have to be RPO? Like, why does it have to be, like, all this? Like, these players, like, are all their backups. Like, a lot of them are, like, Zion Reagan, Zion Kearney, like, Ivan Carry on. Like, these guys are, like, true freshmen.
It's sad that
you can't run a complex scheme like that. You have to know your personnel.
Isn't that kind of the damning thing that it's been so bad? You'd think you just need to make it more simple. They have 2 weeks to prepare for the biggest game of the season against the number 1 team in the country, and they make it more complex.
They don't even run. Yeah, they don't even run that stuff. Like, I like Brent Venables a lot as a coach. I think he's
Love him.
an excellent defensive coach. I think he's a really good recruiter. I think he
He's
knows
installed
what
a
talent looks
fantastic
like.
culture.
Well, that culture's died now, unfortunately, because there's going to be a locker room divide. It's kind of how it happened with Lincoln Riley. Like, hey, the offense had to keep fucking scoring, and they had to be perfect, and the defense, like, that's just what happens. Like, I think it's just we're just cursed. Like Oklahoma football's cursed.
Did you hear the report during the game? Maybe not because you weren't watching, but I don't know if you've heard people talk about it since then. But the halftime report, because when I watch the games, I will have the game on the TV and I watch the Toby Rowland call. Right, I watch in the booth. I listen to Toby Rowland and Teddy and Gabe call the game. But whenever the halftime, hold on. After halftime, when they're coming back out there, Laura Rutledge, whoever the fuck it was, because Holly Rowe was not on the OU side. Holly Rowe didn't cross the Texas side. Pretty much, whoever it was said that Venables was telling the defense that they had to go score. The defense had to go score. That's how bad it was. The offense, there's no hope. The other side of the ball has to go score if we want any shot in this football game. Which the crazy part is with
that makes me kind of done with Brent Venables that he has to say that like you should have taken care of this problem.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have told me that.
I'm sorry.
Because now like
I thought it was important. I with 4 minutes to go in the first half, it's 7-3, and then it just went completely off the rails. And that's another thing. For as detail oriented and everything as Brent is, and as much as he talks about the middle eight, the last four of the first half, the first four of the second half, OU's been the worst team. You know, OU's gotten outscored 49-0 in second quarters in SEC play all season. Like 44, 49-0, something like that. What happened in the middle eight? Just don't get it. Oh, man. I'm just.
Yeah, no players that play good. Like this defense. I thought the defensive line was really good.
Defensive line was fantastic.
I thought like it was kind of a rough day for secondary, and that had been like a really good like secondary was good like throughout the season. Eli Bowen was really good. That's a bright spot.
Yes,
he's awesome. Like he's a really fucking good football player, and to be a true freshman, like I was impressed with him. On offense, there wasn't really anybody that impressed me, to be honest. Kearney, like I texted you during the game. I was like, why don't we just design plays around him? He looks the part.
Yeah. No, but
he's got some twitch. Like he's gonna work on. I think like once he gets his body right, he'll become more twitchy and fluid with his route running, and it'll put him in positions to be a more explosive player. Kind of like he's not as big as like Nick Anderson or Jaden Gibson, but like those are players that like had to get their like body right and had to get the techniques down. Like as a wide receiver to like look more fluid and they just look more explosive and they make more explosive plays happen. That could happen with Zion Kearney. I absolutely believe so. Michael Hawkins. I mean, I don't think Tom Brady would be good behind that offensive line and that system. It just doesn't. Yeah. The system doesn't make sense.
He looks.
That's a tough situation to put a true freshman in.
Yeah. He's starting to get that look of despair that Jackson had. And I don't think I think it's partial confidence that they don't have any more confidence, but also like I think when they come off the field, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing either. Not that they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, but there's no sense of okay, this is gonna work. Or anybody. The soul within that offensive staff or any of those offensive players look like they have any idea what the fuck they're doing from the simple fact that I don't think they have any faith in their play caller or their coaches. I think positional coaches, I think like Emmett Jones is fine. I don't know how I feel about DeMarco Murray at this point. Joe John Finley, check him out back and shoot him.
I'm really sorry about that because I kind of instilled that into your head at the beginning, like before the season started. Like, hey, should we start having questions about DeMarco Murray?
I think you were dead on, and I think it just took me too long to realize it. Maybe we should have let Ohio State have him.
Yeah. I mean, the running backs didn't look bad under like a good offensive scheme.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like you have to have a really good scheme for those running backs to work because it just feels like the coaching isn't great. I don't know. Hand the reins over to DeMarco Murray at this point. Give it to Bill Bedenbaugh and give it to DeMarco Murray. Like, hey, come up with 4 plays. Better than what we got. When Bill Bedenbaugh was co-offensive coordinator, when Lincoln Riley took over as head coach, they named him like basically co-head coach and like co-play call. Like him and Lincoln Riley worked together. That was when the running game and the offensive line were at its best.
Yeah.
And now we've just completely like it's like, yeah, Bill Bedenbaugh, you're just the offensive line coach. It's like, why not ask him?
Yeah.
He's run an offense. Like he's helped run an offense.
Also, regarding the offensive line, part of the reason they're bad. They're part of the reason we can't do anything though. Usually we have no push, right? So we can't generate and run with power or run plays with power. You're right. They all are hurt. But also, we don't have athletic offensive linemen to try to run schemes that favor athleticism, right? Like we're damned if we do, damned if we don't on offense right now. Actually, we're fucked if we do and we're fucked if we don't. Really, it's that bad.
I think we have a bunch of athletic offensive linemen that look the part and probably play the part, but we would rather put them on the sideline because they're true freshmen.
At this point, I'm ready to start every single true freshman on the team. What happened to your most dynamic play players? Huh?
What happened to Sexton? We were raving about him at the end of last season. We're like, yeah, once this guy is healthy. I didn't realize like one coach leaving would completely derail an offense. What a tragedy.
You wouldn't think it would. That's the sad thing. That it is a tragedy.
You keep a bunch of offensive coaches because you believe in them. Like you believe like, hey, look what this offense was able to do last year. Like, hey, we'll hire. I guess I understand from Brent's point of view, but it's like I don't know. I don't even think he saw this coming though.
I don't think he could have.
Can anybody see this coming? Like, could the players have seen this coming? Like, is it just bad luck? Is it bad luck or is it just due diligence was awful? I think both, maybe.
I think 2 things can be true here. I think regarding the injuries, regarding injuries, it was bad luck. The 2 position groups, the one position group you felt deepest in is the one that has had the most injuries. And the one that you felt thinnest in has also been just blanketed with injuries. And so it's one of those things where you got hammered in both aspects. But also it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So, I don't know. I really don't know. But like I said, at this point, I'm ready for the offensive line to be I'm ready to have Eddie Pierre-Louis, Eugene Brooks out there playing.
What about Kumi? Like, is he still hurt? Can he come back? Because I know he was in a boot for most of the season.
Yeah, he's dressed for the last couple games though.
Like, was our defense so brutal to them?
I don't know. It is funny to me to think though when every time he said it last few weeks and I watched like press conferences or whatever and BB says that at practice they do good on good work. In my head I always just think, oh, is that defense versus defense? Because there's nothing good coming from the offense.
Yeah, I know. And I feel bad for BV because he really wants to be the coach here. Like, I don't think he's in over his skis. I just think, well, maybe he is. Who knows? But you can't, like, you have to call it for what it is. Like, tell the people, like, what they want to hear. Like, yeah, like, I made a bad hire. Like, or, yeah, no, like, there are issues. Yeah, there's going to be stories about it. It's going to cause, like, headlines, of course. But, like, at this point, OU fans, like, they want an explanation. Like, hey, like, what the fuck is this,
It's just time to move on. At the end of the day, I don't know if it needs to be now, or if it needs to be. If we lose to South Carolina, there better be multiple people filling out applications on Indeed or LinkedIn Monday morning.
I don't want them fucking making my burgers at McDonald's.
Yeah,
I might fuck that up too.
Yeah, that's for McDouble. Oh, sorry, you got a big chicken. Oh, cool.
Man, those guys could be fucking like door-to-door salesmen for how much they lied to us.
Yeah, I know. Really as much.
I don't mean to talk bad. I don't mean to talk bad about like people. Like I don't know. There could be a multitude of things that just happened that just have created this scenario, regardless of coaching. Like, but you knew what you signed up for. You're gonna get criticism.
Yeah. That's the
social media is bigger now than ever. So
if it truly is due to injury, if it's just so decimated with injuries that they can't get anything going, sometimes, man, things just aren't meant to work out. And you got to bite the bullet and you got to get rid of the guy. You just need a fresh face in there. Just like when they kept throwing Jackson out there and people were like, you have to switch up because you can't keep throwing him out there. It's one of those things. At the end of the day, there's going to be some casualties. There's going to be some losses. I don't know where you stand on this. I think Mike Hawkins has been good. I don't know that he's been great, obviously. Jackson had the turnover issues. I almost feel like you have to see what you got in Jackson Arnold, and you have to just let him run back out there and finish the season as a starting quarterback. Whatever comes of it, comes of it. But he's the 5-star.
It's over.
Well, the season's over.
He's gone.
He's
gone?
I
mean, it's over with him too. Yeah, he's gone. He's a really good football player, and we gave up on him. You know how I felt about the situation. Like, I hated it for him because I actually he's a good football player, and I know that he's got the talent. The QB details they're so off, and I've been trying to say this, like, it's not a quarterback issue. It's not, like, it's all around, and we saw it. Like, Michael Hawkins wasn't great. He wasn't great. I mean, I know he had nothing to work with. But at the end of the day, it's just how it goes. Like, and people are kind of starting to see it. Like, yeah, this isn't a quarterback issue. This wasn't a Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams situation. I kind of wanted to believe that it was because I wanted to have a glimmer of hope for the offense. But after watching the Tennessee game and everything that came with that, like, watching the film, like, you knew, like, going through the progressions, like, both quarterbacks were looking in the wrong spots for their first reads. I know because I play college football, and I know the little red, the red line, like, on some of those play calls. Like, I know who the first read is, and they're looking in the complete wrong place. I run some of those plays. I want to take a out of my playbook now. Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No, you're good.
You can just tell, though, like, the quarterback details. We don't have a quarterback's coach. We don't have a very good tight ends coach in Forge.
Yeah.
We don't have a good tight ends coach. We have a good offensive line coach. Recruiting has not been great, though. It's now finally we got, like, a massive recruits at tackle with Foji and Fasusi.
Yeah.
And then I really like Pierre Louis. We need some more 5-star guys. We haven't, like, really signed any 5-star players either. Texas is littered with them. Alabama littered with them. We're going to have to start deepening our pockets. That's just how it goes. That's NIL. You're going to have to pay for players now.
Well, like, we're going to have to pay an offensive staff.
And that sucks because, like, I know the culture that, like, Brent Venables is trying to bring, but well, and seeing Clemson, like, maybe there's a glimmer of hope because he's trying to kind of follow the Clemson like plan. It's just some of the transfer portal guys haven't been as effective as we thought they would be.
That's another thing. I feel like player evaluation has been very bad on an offensive side. Defensive side, they've done fine.
I'll stop you there. Because I'll stop you there because I believe that, like, Bauer Sharp was a good evaluation. Like, I watched his tape under a good offense. Like, he was blocking well. He was getting open. Like, he's a guy that can perform well. I just think this offense is so riddled that, like, he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. He doesn't know where he's supposed to block. He doesn't have that blocking power. You don't have to have it. You could use good technique. He's just not being taught proper technique when you can't block well as a tight end. Like, he's not George Kittle, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think scheme is a bigger issue than player.
I think that's fair.
I guarantee you that most of these wide receivers that we have, like, would look really good in another offense. Maybe not, because we haven't really heard from.
What?
We haven't really heard from Gavin Freeman, Oklahoma State.
Well, they don't have a good offense though, or a good.
Yeah, state. That's true. Some of these players might be good under good, like, offensive scheme with an offensive coach. It's the same way with, like, some of these defensive players who probably wouldn't be good at another program. Like, the defensive scheme is so good, and we're basically, like, Zach Alley's going to get a head coaching job next year, so we're going to lose that. We're going to have to, like, hire another defensive coach.
I don't know about next year. I think he's going to need a couple more years of experience, but it's coming soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're right.
I think he's just
what a disaster.
Yeah, no, we could go for hours on this and still never feel good about anything. And we're not going to. Season's pretty much lost. You're fighting for bowl at this point. Other games that happened this weekend, got an absolute thriller from Penn State, USC. Fantastic football game. Came down to the wire. You hate to see it. You hate to see kickers be the reason why a team won and the team lost. Usually you hate to see it. I enjoyed it pretty much because it was USC going down. And it was Penn State winning. I thought it was a fantastic football game. Tyler Warren, 17 receptions. Did you see the touchdown where he snapped it and then it was a double pass play? Why couldn't we have gotten called on Nicky last year, dude? What the fuck, man?
I mean, it's crazy. And Drew Aller, like, he kind of struggled. Like, he put it together. He put it together in the second half. That was a hell of a second half performance for Drew Aller. Like, I mean, he came up big. That tight end, whew. That's a good looking tight end, dude. 6'6", 257, and he's got hands. Good route runner.
He's awesome.
That looked crazy there for a second, though. I mean, it was 20-6 going into halftime, and USC was about to have a massive win. It was like, wow. Like,
I thought my 2:30 window was about to fucking be the end of it for me.
Well, I mean, and Miller Moss, like, he played well. Like, I thought he did. His numbers weren't as good as Drew Aller's. Drew Aller almost had like 400 passing yards, but, like, in the first half, like, you know, he had that he had a touchdown throw to go up like 14-3. It was a good pass, good read. Like, the Quentin Joyner, that massive, like, run that he did to go up 7-3, that 75-yard run. Mm-hmm. I mean, just, that was crazy. And I don't know, like, Drew Aller, like, he's a great quarterback? No?
I don't know. I feel like he's in that, and I hate
he's kind of in a tier where it's like, hey, if he goes and beats Ohio State and Michigan, do they have to play Oregon? No. If he beat, by the way, I've been high on the Badgers.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did. I did. Tawi, especially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be a close game and Rutgers was going to win by a field goal. I've been high on the Badgers. It's starting to kind of pay off. I mean, they've looked a lot better since the USC game, or the first half of the USC game. But if Drew Allar puts up an all-time performance against Wisconsin, and then Penn State, that needs to be the whiteout game. Ohio State, sorry. Like Penn State, when they play Ohio State in a couple of weeks, that needs to be the whiteout game.
I think is it the Indiana game?
No, it's the Washington game. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the Indiana game. I
would have been okay this year.
Oh, they don't?
No, this is this is the first time they haven't played Indiana in a long time.
Fuck. I was really excited to see the Fighting Cigarettes, Kirk Cignetti's team, man.
Which 5-1 for Kirk Cignetti. But anyway, Drew Allar's good. I think he's been good. Like he's been a lot better than he was last year. I mean, he couldn't throw the ball. That offense was terrible. And they hired Kotelnicki, and it was a really good hire. You're going to give up points to USC. Lincoln Riley is such a good offensive coordinator, and he's good at scheming things up and like having a good offense. So I thought it was impressive for them to come back, and they only let up 10 points in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't watch too much of the game, but I watched bits and pieces of it. And you're right; it does suck that it comes down to.
No, Indiana's 6-0, by the way.
I thought they were 5-1.
No, they're 6-0.
They're 6-0.
Yeah.
UNLV is who I'm thinking of. That's 5-1. They lost a game recently that I.
Yeah, they lost. Syracuse.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting everything mixed up. My brain is like not functioning correctly.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, no, Penn State 6-0, number 4 team in the country. They go up.
I think they did. I think they're 3 now. Yeah, because it's Texas, Oregon, Penn State.
If Penn State goes undefeated in their national championship team this year, does Andy Kotelnicki get a head coaching job like next year?
I would assume so.
Like if they make the Natty, like he's up. Like there's no way Oklahoma could hire him.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think their best shot at something flashy is what's his name out of UNLV?
Well.
Or to Marion.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Next game we got here.
Maybe Matt Wells from Texas Tech. I like Matt Wells' offense this year.
Yeah. Boy, that's
I feel like you need a splashy hire though.
No, it has to be. It has to be.
It has to be like Matt Wells wouldn't be a splashy hire.
No, I have one final thought on it, and then I'll be done with the whole OU thing. The craziest part to me about all this is one of the bigger, but one of the bigger things that you probably, if you're willing to pay enough, probably could have had a comment with you too. But anyways, one of the crazier things to me is one of the talking points when they hired, or when they decided to promote Seth Luttrell is the fact that he was a head coach somewhere, and that was going to carry, that he had head coaching experience. That was going to carry a lot of weight when it came to detail and fucking no. Clearly didn't work out. There's a reason that North Texas let him go. So, anyways, next game probably no, I wouldn't say the best game. South Carolina, Alabama was insane. Did you see that?
I mean, it just looked like Alabama was going to roll. It was like in my mind, my thought process watching that game was, all right, Bama fans are right. Like Kalen DeBoer, I mean, he's not too far off from Nick Saban in terms of preparation and stuff. And then things almost derailed like they did against Georgia. Like, what is going to happen if we'll get into South Carolina, we'll get into the game, but I have a question for you with Kalen DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
obviously a great head coach. He succeeded anywhere he's been, and he can absolutely in my thought process, he can handle the Bama job. He's doing great recruiting. I think Bama's going to win another national title under him. I think he's got the capability. He took Washington to the national title. I think he's a fantastic coach. But Bama fans, like, you know how it goes when they lose a game because of what Nick Saban had done for that program. If they lose to Tennessee next week, which I think they're going to beat Tennessee in Neyland, but if they lose to Tennessee next week, I mean, what do we say about Kalen DeBoer? Like, I don't think our opinion changes. We still think he's a fantastic coach. He's doing everything right, but South Carolina could have won that game, and I never felt like it was close, but it started to. Like, it got down to a point where, like, that onside kick was very, very, very recoverable.
Oh yeah. Well, I even texted you because I was with we're getting your nails done. I texted you. Alabama gets the ball, goes right down the field and scores like it was no problem. And I literally texted you. I said, "Oh yeah, Alabama's gonna roll today." And then I checked back on the score a little while later, and I'm like, okay, South Carolina might make a fight out of this.
We were watching the game we were watching the game at the State Fair. So we were at the State Fair for like the game and like the experience, and I wanted to go see Barstool. There was an OU tailgate that had the Alabama South Carolina game on, and we stopped by. As soon as we stopped by, it was the drive that the pick six happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was the pick six, and we were like, oh my God, like this is. I mean, it was crazy, and then this, it was just crazy, dude. It was a pick six in that game.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
I'm not crazy. There was a pick six in that game.
There was a safety. Was there not a pick six?
Did they call it back? Well, I didn't watch afterwards. Like, all I heard was, yeah, it may have been like a call back, but like I remember hearing like, oh my God, it's a pick six. Am I wrong on this? Again,
Jalen Kilgore got one. He had a 31-yard return, got it back to Alabama 19.
Okay, so they did. That was the one that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because or we walked by it because it was almost the end of the half, right? Like it was about to go into the halftime.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got that. So I guess the 19, then they kicked the field goal.
They called it a pick six at first. I swear to God they did because we heard pick six from the people that were watching and the broadcast. So I guess they called it back. Okay, but we walked away after that. We were like, oh my. Okay, yeah, we were like, oh my God, but I had to keep going because we had to find Barstool, so I couldn't stop. And I mean, it was just crazy. We were like, oh my God, like, is South Carolina going to do this?
That was my thought pretty much the entire game was, are they really about to do this? And they almost did.
Yeah, 43 seconds left to get that last touchdown because it was, 25 to – because they failed on the 2-point conversion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were trying to go make it 2 points, failed, so they went for the onside kick. Onside kick looked like it could have been recoverable.
No, it definitely was.
I think you were the one that texted me, and you were like, dude, that 2-point conversion, like, South Carolina should have converted it.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what you said, but I didn't watch what ended up happening.
I've had a lot
of you have to remember,
substances in my body since then. I don't know. It was so no, I do remember now. It was pretty much almost like a sprint out. And as Lenore Sellers is rolling out, he fires it, has a dude wide open, and just sails it about 6 feet over his head.
Oh, that sucks.
And he got hit as he was throwing it, but he like you got to make that throw. In that moment to beat Bama, you have to, to tie it. But in that moment, you have to make that throw. And he just sailed it. But it's just one of those things that it felt like everything was going right up until the moment that it wasn't. But yeah, man, I mean, this goes back to what we were talking about last week. What's up?
No, go ahead. Sorry. I was going to ask you a question.
This goes back to what we were talking about last week, especially with the Florida-Tennessee game and then the Ole Miss LSU and the other games we'll get into. The SEC right now, anybody can beat anybody. Like, it is open season. on SEC football teams right now. It almost looked for a minute that Mississippi State was going to really make it a game with Georgia.
Jeff Lebby's offense is coming together quicker than I thought it would for Mississippi State.
The only team that can't beat anybody is OU when they have to score points. So
yeah. Hey, I
Vandy beat fucking Kentucky. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, so I didn't get to watch that game, but I saw. Yeah. Diego Pavia, man. The man. The guy. So, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is Tennessee okay?
No.
Again, Tennessee, Florida. So. Like, this is the first time they've beaten Florida in a long fucking time. And remember, I told you on the last episode, because you said we were talking about, we're like, yeah, Tennessee should roll Florida. And it was like, hold on, it's Florida, Tennessee. Like, Florida does not lose to Tennessee for whatever reason. And dude, it was like 10-0. Like, going into the third quarter, it was 3-0. Like, through like until halftime. Like in the third quarter, Florida scores and it's 10-0.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, Nico, like true freshman. I mean, it's a big game.
It looked like the Arkansas game from last week for majority of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Tennessee, they started off hot, and I mean they're 5-1. They're 5-1. They're the number 11 team, but I mean, Florida.
Is Billy Napier saving his job at this point?
I don't know. Graham Mertz had a knee injury in that game.
Yeah, his ACL.
Didn't look good. Yeah, didn't look good when it happened. Yeah.
You know who else is done for the season?
Sorry,
go ahead.
No. I don't have anything else on that game. I just like Tennessee. Like they went from looking like a national championship contender to, hey, we just have to hold on in some of these games.
Yeah.
It doesn't get easier for them. They have to put up something impressive against Alabama if fans are going to believe like this team can compete.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I felt like the NC State game was a big I watched that game and it was like I don't really know how I feel about Tennessee now after watching the NC State game because NC State is not a good football team.
The NC State game to Tennessee is the same thing the Tulane game was against OU. It was false hope that things were on track.
It didn't even look great though until the second half for Tennessee against NC State. Like that was like rough for their offense.
I know, but like what I mean by that is it was one of those things where people watch it and they're like, okay, there was some bad there, but they were able to fight through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it was just, but it was never really in that good of a spot. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this: Florida's 3-3, and we thought they were only going to win like one game this season.
Yeah.
So, like that's what happens when you're fighting for your job. Like as a coach, like we're going to figure this shit out. And I feel like maybe that gives me hope about like Oklahoma's season going forward. I have no hope, but watching a big rivalry game. So, anyways, another really, really fantastic game: Colorado versus Kansas State.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see?
I just never felt like it was close until it got close. Like fourth quarter happens, Colorado pitches a comeback. This game started off Colorado. It was 7-0, and then it was like, all right, Kansas State. Now they're on a roll. It's 21-7 going into the third quarter. Colorado has nothing going on, and then they have stuff going on, and this game was back and forth, back and forth. We were talking about what was this game going to look like? Is it going to be a scoregami or is it going to be like one of these teams is only winning by like?
Yeah.
We know ball. Yeah.
Like
it was like this. One of these teams is only going to win by 3 points, or we're going to get like a weird scoregami.
Yeah.
And the scoregami didn't happen. But
continue talking and going. I'll be right back. I got to go get the fucking animals. I'm home alone, so I got to take care of them.
No, you're good. Yeah, I never felt. It just felt like it was like Kansas State was starting to roll because it was 21-7, and like Colorado just couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything going, and then they finally did. Like in the third quarter, closer to the end of the third quarter, they scored a touchdown. It's 21-14, and then going into the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter, 24-14 when Kansas State kicks the field goal. And then Colorado, I mean, they start coming back. And I've been impressed with Colorado after the stink that they had last season. Like, I mean, we thought Kansas State was going to be Big 12 champions like that. We just thought their team and that coaching staff was going to be able to put it together. Avery Johnson had the big play though, so that's how they ended up winning the game. Yeah, let's talk about Wisconsin real quick. What a smackdown by Wisconsin, the Badgers. I knew I believed in Luke Kuechly, not Luke Fickell. Sorry,
Luke Kuechly.
Yeah. Imagine. I love him too. One of my favorite linebackers of all time. But Luke Fickell, he's getting things figured out. Yeah, if you give Tommy Walker the ball, he's going to make things happen. I don't know why we didn't give that guy a scholarship. You know, you heard me complain about that last season.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Yeah, Taylor Tatum.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
I just realized Illinois-Purdue was an overtime game that came down to 50-49. I didn't see that when it happened. That's crazy.
Blind dog finds a bone every once in a while.
Yeah. Okay, I know.
And it's funny because Kirk Cignetti, like, whenever they hired him at Indiana, he went to like a basketball game, like the Indiana basketball game, like one of the season openers, and he basically got on the mic. Same thing that Brian Kelly did at LSU, but he was like, "We're gonna beat Purdue, we're gonna own the conference, and we're not taking it back." And he meant about basketball, like he was talking about basketball and that. And it's like, you probably shouldn't say something like that. And it's funny that it almost came back to biting him in football.
Oh, man. Fucking hell of a coach. Army and Navy, I don't know if you saw this. Both of them are undefeated, obviously, still. And both of them are ranked.
The troops, man.
Army absolutely just routed UAB. I mean, it wasn't even close.
They have a passing quarterback. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, Army throws for more yards than we do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like they have a passing offense. Like they figured it out. That's going to be a fun game at the end of the Army Navy is going to be phenomenal.
It might be for a playoff spot.
It might be the greatest over we've ever seen in that game.
Oh,
and last year had the greatest over. It came down to the last second for that over to hit. I want that over to hit again. BYU, they're still a monster. I had Kansas State kind of as like a Big 12 champion between them and Utah.
Yeah.
We might have to go ahead and just reward that to BYU because I mean they are an absolute wagon.
Unit? Yeah.
They're an absolute wagon. They're a unit. The Baylor game was never as close as the final score.
Yeah.
I mean, they figured it out. Like they had a tight game against SMU, and then ever since then, like they are destroying their opponents. I like that head coach, man. Yeah. Fat Mormon. That guy is. That's a guy. It seems like that team would run through a wall for him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because he's figured it out with the stink. I mean, it didn't look like that team was any good last year. His first year head coach. He's got that team absolutely rolling. Should we get into the big games?
Yeah, definitely.
This was going to be my favorite game of the weekend, and I didn't even get to watch it. LSU Ole Miss. I'm really sad because I was traveling with friends, and I didn't get to like pull it up on my phone. My phone was like about to die, and I had to like spare what battery I had left. The charging port on my phone is messed up, so I have to use like a wireless pad.
Oh fuck!
I don't really feel like it. Yeah, I don't really feel like doing anything with it. I'm just gonna let it ride out, and then I'll get a new phone later. But I didn't get to watch this game. I'm really sad because LSU apparently had like an awesome like comeback.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the end of it. I was doing fiance stuff now. I guess no longer boyfriend shit. It's fiance shit now. I was doing that pretty much all evening.
Let's be happy that because we had basically like a petri dish. It was like a testing tube between what Lane Kiffin did with Ole Miss and how they brought in all their players and what Dabo did with Clemson. I know the SEC is tough, but like, yeah, I know like Ole Miss, like Key Lawrence he redshirted. Key Lawrence who like transferred to Ole Miss, they lost and he's redshirting the rest of the season and he's gonna probably transfer out of there.
Man,
they derailed. We had our questions about how it was going to look for Ole Miss. Like everybody had them as like a fringe national title team. Like we crowned so many teams this season. Like, oh, they could win a national title. They could win a national title. Well, I mean, the quarterbacks were the difference in this game, and Nussmeier was just way better.
Yeah. Completely agree.
LSU's wide receivers are awesome. Where do they find these guys?
No. I wish I knew.
How many? I don't even. Do they rush for very many yards? I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah, 84 yards. That's it. They're passing the ball all. I mean, they did whatever they want in the air.
Yeah. So, Nussmeier was throwing some dimes, dude.
Yeah.
He was slinging the rock.
Damn it! This is so good for Brian Kelly, and this is how it always starts off with Brian Kelly. They look rough to start the season, and then they figure things out.
Yeah.
Like it kind of reminds me of sometimes like some of the Bob Stoops teams. Like they figure it out later on. Like they get hot later. Like they get things rolling.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't want to down on Profitables. So, and then the big game. I guess the best game, like the one that everybody was going to be watching.
Yeah.
Because OU Texas was a game that, yeah, it was such a disappointment for how awesome that rivalry game always is. I had a question for you last episode. What if Dylan Gabriel just hadn't been playing his best ball? Like if Oregon's going to win, he needs to put on a Superman cape. The dude just wins big games, man. Oregon 32, Ohio State 31. Both quarterbacks were really good. We'll talk about Will Howard in a little bit. But, yeah, I'm happy for Dylan Gabriel. I wanted him to win this game, and their big-time playmakers on offense showed up. Jordan James, who had been the backup to Bucky Irving last year, had a massive game. Dylan Gabriel did whatever he wanted. He 341, 23-34, 331, 2 touchdowns. Evan Stewart was awesome. He was a big-time portal wide receiver for them. So, I mean, that's like he had an incredible game. Like their receivers really showed out. I'm very happy for Dylan Gabriel. That's a massive win in Eugene.
He found his deep ball, man.
Yeah, he did. Like, good for him.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I mean, it's there. It's there. And it looked good, too. Like, I don't know what it is about Dylan Gabriel in massive games like this when you're going up against a top 3 team in the country. Like, he just has it, dude. He has, like, that factor. Because he threw that deep ball to Farouk against Texas last year, and it was like, that was the best deep ball I've seen him throw in his career. And then he had the deep ball against Tees. Like,
It's crazy how pretty the ball looks from out of his hand, and he's a lefty.
Would he be the best backup in the NFL right now?
With
his knowledge?
I think he'd be a very good backup.
I don't regard Flacco as a backup. That guy was born to play football. That guy was born to be a starter. He won a Super Bowl.
Fair enough. So. I think so. I think he'd be on that same. I think he'd be like top tier backup level.
Like he's played so much football and he's just so good and he like believed in himself and he believed in the process. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like I'm happy for him and that's a massive win for Oregon. And Dylan Gabriel, that's just another big time performance. The dude just wins big games. He's legit. Did you see apparently like an Oregon player spit on an Ohio State player?
Yeah, Trayshawn Holden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't do that, dude. It's like the ultimate form of disrespect.
Yeah. No, you definitely shouldn't do that.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it could have been, but you can't do that, man. Like you can't spit on somebody. Like that's just bullshit. You can't do that shit. But hey, I mean, he got kicked out the game. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that was crazy that he got kicked out of the game.
Yeah,
I know. I probably would have too. Like, hey man, punching someone's bad and can get you ejected. Targeting's bad, that can get you ejected. Spitting on somebody, like, that's the ultimate.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it's all like completely avoidable situations, but you have to make a conceited effort to spit on somebody.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah,
we're not doing that shit.
I thought Will Howard was really good in the game. Like, he performed way better than I thought he was going to this season. Like, we like Will Howard, but we know what he is as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about this. Like, we like Will Howard, but we know what he is. He's efficient, but he's not really like a game changer. And I felt like he kind of was in this game until the very final play.
Yeah.
That
was just strange, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was, and you see him, like, he gets up and he's just like, oh my God. It reminded me of like the Brady, he thought it was, he did the fours against Chicago. Like, that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like he was just so lost in that moment, but he realized it like last second, like, oh my God, I fucked up so bad. And you can see the wide receiver like do the timeout, but it was just too late.
What do you think about the 12 men on the field? Do you think Dan Lanning did that on purpose?
I think if he did, that's like low key smart as fuck.
It's like the Bill Belichick like false start, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the false start when he was going for like punts, like he would false start on purpose and
to get the extra clock off, or the extra time off the clock. Yeah.
He would spot out for it too. If he did, I didn't even think about that. If that's on purpose, that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty smart. If that's how he wanted it to go. Like if that was like, if it's not how he wanted it to go, then like that's just complete luck. And it's just like, I mean, you probably should figure that out. But if he did that on purpose, then
you got to think about it though. You throw the 12th man on the field, right? So you get an extra DB back there. You have the competitive advantage there. Then you get the time rolling off the clock. It was an incomplete pass. There's not going to be runoff, but they don't put the time back on the clock when the penalty goes. So as you accept the penalty, they burned like 5-6 seconds. And then Will Howard runs, slides. His knee hits the ground at 1 second, but the clock always rolls an extra beat or two. So I kind of want it to be the narrative that he did that on purpose because it's kind of badass.
Yeah. Well, that's a massive win for him. Like he needed that win after like his first couple of years at Oregon. Like, can he win the big game? Well, he just did.
Let the dog back in. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, Dan Lanning, he can win the big game, and good for him. So, and good for Dylan Gabriel. That's really all I have on that. I'm still really sad about the OU loss.
Was there any other games you want to get into?
No, I think that was it, man. It sucked, like the OU game or the Red River game. I mean, that sucked that we had to watch that. But other than that, I mean, there was a lot of good games that fans could enjoy. So
it's good slate. And Pittsburgh stayed undefeated. They're 6-0.
Yeah.
So, but
man.
Oh, man, it's not going to get any easier. It's not going to get any better. It's going to be a rough last couple of months. But on the bright side, me and you both are fans of some NFL teams that have been on quite the roll as of late. I will let you go ahead and take it away with our Week 6 recap from the NFL this weekend.
Yeah, let's start with the London game. Let's just get right into it. I woke up to watch that game. It sucks like having to wake up that early and like process like a London game. I think, we shouldn't play the London game anymore. I think we should just play American football in America because I'm a patriotic American. I love this great sport, but at least it ended up being an awesome win. So
let's be honest, the London game is only fun when you win because then you can enjoy the rest of the day of football. But if your team loses, then you just have to watch 12 hours of football absolutely pissed.
Yeah, exactly.
I've only gotten that experience out of the London game.
Yeah. We had the Brazil game. That sucked for you in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that was tough, dude.
Yeah. Bears 35, Jaguars 16. I had a lot of fun watching that game. I needed that after what happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams continues to progress. His stat line doesn't blow you away, but if you watch some of the throws he made, he's obviously getting more comfortable in the scheme. He had the bad throw, the bad interception. He made the right read when he threw it to DJ Moore. I don't know what he was thinking. He wishes he can have that one back because he knows like how to throw the ball in that situation to get it to his wide open receiver, but ends up being picked off. It almost kind of looked like it was going to be another offensive struggle, and I was really sad. But then second quarter happens, and then we get things rolling. So that was a lot of fun, and the run game works now. I don't know, DeAndre Swift. Like ever since I talked shit, it's just been he earned me.
You should start talking shit about no, that hasn't worked. That hasn't worked. Yeah, no, it was a super fun game. Huh?
I said maybe it hasn't worked enough. Maybe. Like Caleb's kind of finding his groove a little bit, and this is what I expect from him. Like I expect him to do, even as a rookie. Like it's hard to expect a rookie quarterback to perform well, but with his like knowledge of the game and like just how quickly he like progresses and like or how quickly like he understands things, and like just watching him in college, like there's a reason this guy was like one of the highest like rated draft prospects of like quarterbacks in a long time, like since Andrew Luck, really, because of just like he's just talented, and so he was awesome. Cole Kmet, that guy, I love Cole Kmet now. I didn't know how I felt about him, but like watching him this season, like he looks more athletic, more fluid. We lose our long snapper. He goes out there and he has to become the long snapper, and he did great.
Can we talk about? Obviously, we'll keep getting into it. Can we talk about tight end play in the NFC North right now? Tucker Kraft was on a roll for a few weeks there. Cole Kmet's coming along and looking pretty good. Sam Laporta is one of the top, like, very young tight ends in the league. And when TJ Hawkinson's healthy, he's one of the best, especially receiving.
He's almost unstoppable, yeah.
Yeah. Like, the NFC North has been fantastic all this year.
And I was going to wait until the Packers game to bring it up, but I guess we can go ahead and bring it up now. If I told you that the Packers were going to be last place in the division, you probably would have thought Jordan Love, catastrophic injury, and like everything just derailed, and they're like only won one game on the season.
Yeah, you would have.
The Packers have been great.
Yeah,
the Packers have been great, and they're only in last place because of point differential. That's it.
Yeah. You would have thought, if you said that to me Tuesday morning after week 1, if you would have said that to me, I would have thought it was an ACL tear.
Yeah.
But no, man, like, you're right. It's the first time since division realignment in the early 2000s that every team in a conference or in a division is 2 games over 500 this late into the season.
Yes, man.
I love it.
Ryan Poles, when he took the general managing job for Chicago, he said, "We're going to take the North, and we're not going to give it back." That's going to be fucking hard.
Yeah, dude, it's one of those things. It might actually be it's going to be a true battle all the way down to the last week of the season. Who's going to win this division? Unless the Vikings just never lose, which I doubt.
And I'm not going to make any proclamations about the Bears right now. We've beaten some pretty bad teams, blown out some pretty bad teams, which I like to see. It's good that the schedule happened the way that it did, because it's only going to get tougher, and Caleb's going to have very hard teams to go up against later on in the season. But I like the fact that we are winning these games, and I don't have to stress about them. You know, like it's one thing whenever we had the quarterbacks that we did, like I never knew what kind of play we were going to get out of the QBs. Like that's like the tough part about, like, now I get it, like why you're always so confident as a Packers fan. Like I get it now. Like I guess like the second I knew we were drafting Caleb Williams in 2022 when you came to my office, like I knew things were going to change, but like I still can't, like I can't process that this is the way that it's happened. Like the Bears don't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Bears don't make good moves like this, and there's still a lot of season left. We have no idea what it's going to look like, but it's looked way better than it has in a while.
The thing is, and that's part of it, but the thing is, yes, you're beating up on bad teams right now, but that's just stacking good games and stacking confidence. Because you can't tell me that Bears game, if they had to turn around and play the Vikings next week, who do y'all play next week?
So after the Jags, we're going to play the Commanders. Whew.
Surprising, not shit game of the day. Like,
coming into the season. We got to go to Arizona, and we got to go to Arizona. We got to play the Cardinals. We get a much needed bye week. So we get a bye week. We don't have to play next week. And then we get the Commanders.
Oh, so y'all are off next week?
Yeah, and we lost some players on the defense. Obviously, Jaquan Brisker, he was out. He was rolled with the concussion when he hit was it
Tommy Tremble?
Yeah.
Tommy Tremble, yeah.
Yeah. He was out with the concussion. Kyler Gordon ended up getting hurt. Yeah. Kyler Gordon got hurt. Tyreek Stevenson was out. One of our pass rushers was playing banged up. I just don't remember exactly who it was, but like they had some injuries on the defense, and even those backups got turnovers. So like it's just like good to know, like, you know, like maybe we don't have to search for a new head coach. Like at least right now, like Matt Eberflus has his side of the ball. Right? He's a defensive coach, and like the defense is playing really well. This is 12 games in a row now that they've let up 21. They've only had 21 points or less scored on them. So like that's what you like to see. But like getting Keenan Allen, I mean, that's awesome to have like a security blanket like Keenan Allen. Like when you need a big play, that you know that you can get the first down with Keenan Allen. Like that's awesome. The Rome Odunze, like he's gonna find the explosive play with Rome Odunze. Like he was open a lot yesterday. Rome Odunze, there was a lot of plays where he's down the field, he's open, and the throw's there. But you know, like Caleb's still a rookie. Like he's still trying to get other wide receivers to be happy. You know, he's made DJ Moore happy. He's trying to get Keenan Allen going, and like, it's gonna work with Rome Odunze. It's good that he like finally is throwing to the tight end. Like I felt like he didn't really throw to the tight end that much in college. Like Austin Stogner only had like a few receptions at Oklahoma, and then I didn't really watch much of him at USC, but he was wide receiver happy. But it's good to see like this team, like this. There's a reason we thought this was the best situation a rookie quarterback was going into, and it's kind of showing. Like they're 4-2. You can't really apologize for it. You got to focus on it. Should we talk about the Jags?
They're staying this week in London, so they don't have that flight back after a loss.
I feel bad for London fans. Like,
that's kind of the team that the NFL has given them. They play the most in London, and it's like they got like the worst fucking organization, dude.
Next week, which Drake? We'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy to me?
What's up?
Like, we can actually look back on the Eagles Super Bowl and realize that Doug Peterson and Nick Foles beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like, that's weird, right? Like we can actually like because I thought Doug Peterson was a good coach because he won a Super Bowl. I mean, that's why. Like, hey, you won a Super Bowl and you did it in awesome fashion, and then everything just has down for him. They've got to fire him, don't they?
Yeah, it's pretty much over. Like that's what I mean when they get another week in London, then it's that dreaded fly home. Now they might beat the Patriots. Like you said, we'll talk about them a little bit later and how their how that game went. But if they lose to the Patriots, Doug Peterson's flying home. Like he's flying not private on his way home. I'm telling you that.
No, absolutely not. But Trevor Lawrence, like, it's been kind of crazy for the number one overall pick that people touted as kind of like a generational talent. Yeah. Like, a lot of people were saying, like, yeah, John Elway, Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence. Like, these are guys, like, number one overall pick in most decades, in most generations. And I kind of looked bad for him. I think the morale for him has kind of gone downhill. And it didn't help him that he had a lot of receivers drop passes. Like Ryan Thomas dropped a couple passes.
Yeah.
We forced some takeaways. The one interception that he threw, like, it was just a bad throw. I don't know what he was looking at. But he had Evan Ingram. Like, I don't really know what to make of Trevor Lawrence. I think it's just because he's on a bad team, and it's just been a bad start for him in Jacksonville. And, like, he had the playoff run, and then last season when they were like 8-3 before everything derailed, he got injured.
Yeah.
It kind of hasn't looked the same for Trevor Lawrence, and so maybe he needs a fresh start.
I don't know, man.
I never really saw it with Trevor Lawrence. Like, I guess just because I watched him in college and like he was good, but like his receivers were just making better plays than he was, making better throws. But like there are games I've watched where it's like, okay, that's the reason he was a number one pick. Like I've seen him make throws, and it's like, yeah, that's a number one pick, like number one quarterback pick throw. Like,
yeah,
So I don't know. Like,
it's one of those things where it just doesn't pan out. I mean, I like you said, I thought Trevor Lawrence had a lot to work on when he came into the league. I thought he had a ton to work on, and I don't feel like he's ever really gotten that chance to really develop. And that's part of the shitty thing that happens when you're a number one overall pick and you're expected to go out there and perform immediately. Sometimes it works out. Most times it doesn't. So,
have you seen the thing he does where he just like spins? It's like a clean pocket and he like spins, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like the pocket is clean.
I don't know.
It's like he's juking the ghost that Sam Darnold was seeing. Like it really just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the Jags, that's rough. I feel bad for Jags fans.
I know.
Because your 1-1 was to the Colts, which was good because it was the Joel Flacco Colts, but like this should have been like momentum carried.
Yeah.
But dude, you lost to the Browns. That's rough.
It's bad.
Yeah. But I'm happy. Again, like we got a stretch coming up where we hope we can carry the positive momentum. Hopefully in the bye week we get guys healthy. Maybe Jaquan Brisker comes back, Tyreek Stevenson. You need Kyler Gordon back. Kyler Gordon is the most. He's Kendall Dolby for this team. Like he makes the big plays in the backfield, and like he's a very, very important piece. And he ended up getting hurt in this game, so like I really need him to get healthy and be ready to go. So, but yeah, Matt Eberflus and his defensive scheme, like he knows defense. And Shane Waldron, you want to know something crazy before we go to the next game?
What's up?
He doesn't script his plays.
Really?
I saw that. Yeah. They were talking about that. Like he doesn't script his the first 15 play, like because every coach like they have like the first 15 to 20 plays they script.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that.
Huh.
He's just like he just goes with the flow. He's like, all right, well, we're gonna try this. And if it works, then it'll lead into this. But like they're not scripted. Like you know what I mean? I've never seen a coordinator like not do that. I've never seen a coordinator do what he does.
That feels odd, but I mean it makes sense because I mean if you script your first,
and then,
that's the thing.
Let's say you have a flag or like it's a tackle for loss and it's like 2nd and 12 or like 3rd and 16. But like even then, like you're gonna have like, hey, this is what we're gonna do if this happens, or this is what we're gonna do when this happens. That's why it's all scripted. But I guess he's like he trusts his offense and he trusts I guess his players now. The offensive line's playing a lot better, oddly enough, but. I don't know. We're gonna have a rough stretch coming up, so we'll see how good that offensive line can play.
For sure.
And Caleb Grandson too. It's nice to see him get out of the pocket and run. And it's not like he's doing it because like his first read isn't there. Like he's going through his progressions. Like he's looking down the field. He's looking for like all of his receivers before he takes off and runs. I like to see that. Like that's how I measure quarterback play. It's kind of like Baker. Like that's why I was so high on Baker. Is like I'm not giving up on him. Like I know what he's capable of and like what he can do. Same thing with like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers would do the same thing. I'm not trying to compare him to Aaron Rodgers, but like he does that same thing where he's looking for the receiver first before he runs. Like if the first play isn't there, he just knows situationally what he has to do, and I like that. That's why he's a smart quarterback and he's going to succeed.
I think the NFC North.
Let me backtrack real quick. Caleb Williams is not very good. He's dog shit. He's gonna fail.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now he should succeed.
Okay. Got it. No, I think absolutely. I didn't watch a whole ton of it because I was making breakfast and doing a bunch of shit yesterday morning. But from what I did see, the Bears looked like a wagon yesterday. I mean, they looked unstoppable.
Entire NFC North, man. It's insane.
Speaking, I'm also looking. Yeah, no, I am too. For the NFC, I like when the NFC North is good. I like when it's competitive. It's too many times that the Packers have just beaten up on the NFC North, and it gets old playing with your food a little bit. You know what I mean?
So now
I say.
Yeah, I'm sure so you're
probably. You said what?
I know you watched that line. You watched the Bears play. You had to sweat.
Yeah, dude, drenched.
Sweat.
No, but
you got any other?
No, I'm good. We can move on.
Okay. Next game. Ravens Commanders. The Ravens are just a really good team. I mean, and I have a lot of Jaden Daniels again. He continues to be incredible. That guy. I mean, and it wasn't easy for him either. Like I watched the game. Like the Ravens, they made Washington fight for every yard, every touchdown. Like everything was covered. They had done such a fantastic job. But I feel as though like the Ravens are finding their stride, and this is why like I hadn't written them off yet. I felt that they could still be like a very competitive team. Like things were going to end up working out, but yeah, no, I mean I thought it was a very impressive win for the Ravens, and Lamar continues to look good, and Derrick Henry, who he's getting up there in age. I feel like this is the best he's looked in a while.
Yeah, he's like he's aging like fine wine, man. He's just getting better with age, which is crazy because he's a big physical power back. I mean, he's not just a power back, right? He can do everything, but that's kind of the primary nature of his role.
He's kind of the last of the generation.
Yeah.
It's kind of the last of the generation. So, but yeah, no, Washington's still a very good football team. They're still 4-2. That was just a really good Ravens team. Like that's not like I didn't come out of that game thinking like, oh yeah, Washington can't compete. It's like you have a rookie quarterback and you have a head coach that's been in the Super Bowl. This roster on paper probably doesn't look like a 4-2 team right now, and he hasn't played like that. And a lot of it is because they've got the quarterback right. Like if I'm a Commanders fan, I'm probably walking out of there being like, thank God Jaden Daniels is available at number 2.
Yeah, God, I know. If I'm a Giants fan,
Kingsbury, I didn't know how that was going to look. Yeah, I didn't know how that was going to look with Cliff Kingsbury's offense kind of going later into the season. We know how that usually looks. I thought it looked good. It's just Ravens make you fight for every yard, and they did. Like Daniels was fighting for every yard. He was throwing it to everybody, anybody that he can get a throw to.
Yeah.
Like that second touchdown he threw, it was covered. He had to throw it in the perfect spot where only his receiver could get it. That's just a tough catch. And yeah, no.
Impressive. You said what?
That was basically the game.
You're kind of lagging. Hold on. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Did it cut out?
A little bit.
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, no, I pretty much agree with everything you said. It's a fantastic game. It's cool seeing the Commanders compete the way that they do. I mean, obviously everybody in the world does this, but Terry McLaurin's a fucking dude, man. He is so good at football. But Jaden Daniels is playing well, and the Commanders have some older pieces. it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Like as some of those older pieces go away and they replace it. Like if they can continue to draft well, it can be pretty scary, man. The NFC East. I mean, it's Commanders are in first place in the East right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No one would have thought that.
Yeah, no. I would have thought you were crazy. If I told you that if I showed you the graphic of who's likely to I guess like which 4-2 or 5-1 team is looking the best right now. And I showed you like the Texans, the Commanders, and then like I don't know who's like another team that I guess like
the Bucks, the Ravens.
Yeah, the Bucks.
The Steelers.
Yeah. Like if I showed you that graphic, it would have been like 2 or 5. Like if I showed you that graphic like 3 years ago, you'd been like, what?
Yeah.
It's crazy how quick the NFL changes, man.
I think Garrett Wilson took a shot.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh wow, this game is tight.
I know. I need the Bills to win by at least 2.
Let's go ahead and rapid fire through the rest of this because I do want to watch the fourth quarter of this game.
Yeah, for sure. I'll take Packers Cardinals real quick. Jordan Love is Jesus. He hath returned. Right. He had 2 weeks after he was down for 2 weeks, had a little bit of a buffer for another week, and then he's finally back. The Cardinals couldn't do shit to stop the Packers. I thought this was going to be a much closer game, but it ended up not being. Romeo Doubs is back, and he is as unaffected by anything as ever. He's just stone-faced 24/7. But awesome to see Jordan Love spinning the ball around, hitting all his different targets. Josh Jacobs looked good. The offensive line looks great. Defense is still opportunistic. They lead the league in turnovers, but they're not very good. They don't create a ton of pressure. The secondary, I think, makes up for a lot. Xavier McKinney's streak is broken. Didn't get a pick this week, but
I'll tell you this: who's the defensive coordinator? Jeff Hafley.
Jeff Hafley.
Yeah, Jeff Hafley. You can definitely tell that it's a big step up in coordinator though, because I saw a stat last year. They only had 18 total takeaways of the season. Mm-hmm. They now have 17 through 6 games.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And Bears fan here, obviously. I don't know what side you're going to be on whenever I go to edit this, whether it's this side or whether it's this side. I don't know. One of these two. The peanut punch has been just used fantastically by the Packers this year. They are striking at everything, and Evan fucking Williams, the 5th-round rookie out of Oregon, might be my favorite player on this fucking football team at this point.
Is that one peanut punch?
No, not because of that. Because he has stepped in with when Jair was out, he had stepped in and played a little bit of like a nickel safety hybrid, and him and Javon Bullard were pretty much swapping back and forth between safety and nickel. And he has played fan-fucking-tastic football. He is incredibly good. And it's awesome to see him wearing 33. It gives me huge Micah Hyde vibes. Edgerrin Cooper looks great. Kicker is still an issue. But
oh yeah. Yeah, that's
right. Yeah. But they're winning games. It's very enjoyable to watch. And 4-2, we're in last place in the division. If we'd have been 4-2, if you would have told me we were 4-2, I would have assumed probably second behind the Lions. But we're in last place, like I said, just due to point differential. That stuff will start to sort itself out soon. Division play feels like it starts way late in the season for the NFC at this point, or for the NFC North, because only us and only the Packers and Vikings have played out of the division so far. Because y'all haven't played the Lions, have you?
No.
And the Lions haven't played the Vikings yet either. So, divisional play is going to start up here in a couple weeks. Packers, obviously we'll get into this in our preview video, but Packers go full whiteout welcome to the Texans to town this weekend. So, yeah, awesome win. Great to see. Jordan Love was fantastic. The pick was just Bo Melton slipped. Unfortunate, but
the one
really
pass
hurt his fantasy numbers.
The touchdown pass he threw to Romeo Dobbs,
where he just falls back and throws it.
It looked like he airmailed it. I was like, what is he doing? And it's just like Romeo Dobbs is right there, makes a great catch in the end zone. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it was going to be like another Will Levis moment. I was like, this guy can't stop doing Will Levis shit. And it turns out he knew what he was doing right there. Yeah, no, he looked good. He played really well. Like, I never thought at one point, like, I agree with you on the interception too. Like, the wide receiver slipped. It was a good throw. But, yeah, no, it's like, how do the Packers keep getting away with this? How do they keep getting a quarterback right? It doesn't make any sense.
Was that the Breaking Bad meme? He can't keep getting away with it.
Yeah, no, it's like Hitler return. But it's good that, like, hey, you know what? It's crazy that, like, they had a plan for him. They said, you're our guy. We believe in you. We're going to give you a bunch of young wide receivers, but, like, you're going to mesh with them. You're going to figure it out. Like, we believe in our talent evaluation, and we believe that, like, this offense is going to be, big time again because we can develop, and that's basically what they've done. And Christian Watson looked good again. It was nice to see Romeo Dobbs after, the suspension and everything. Like, yeah, he's back.
It's just
Dobbs is back.
Dobbs is back. It's just awesome, man. And that's one thing. This really been my last point on it. With all the youth at receiver and how many different dudes they have, like Dontavian Wicks got hurt early in this game and didn't play for most of it. You couldn't have convinced me that they had one of their better receivers out. It looked like a flawless effort. Jaden Reed, please God, I don't want him returning punts anymore. That was terrifying. Jaden Reed would be the one that if we lost him, shit would probably start to go south because he does everything. But yeah, we got the deep field, we got the down the field burner and Christian Watson. We got the route runner.
I felt like they struggled to run the ball a little bit, and I don't think that was because, like, the only reason I think that is I think we don't give it the Cardinals probably aren't as good as we thought they were going to be, but their run defense is really good.
The run defense is pretty good. They were very undisciplined when it came to like holding their water though. Like they could not stop jumping off sides.
Yeah.
And jumping into the neutral zone. They were itching to get after Jordan. But the run game wasn't great, but I do think that Cardinals do a lot of good things there. But yeah, no, you have the down the field burner and Christian Watson. You got the route runner in Dontavian Wicks. You got the guy that catches everything in Romeo Dobbs. You got Bill Melton who can come in and be like a slot guy and just a gadget type guy. You got Jaden Reed that is essentially a Swiss Army knife at receiver. Can do anything and everything you need him to. And then when Luke Musgrave's healthy, he's a good pass catcher. And then Tucker Kraft is Jaden Reed, but at tight end at this point. So and then with Josh Jacobs and Manuel Wilson, and then Jordan Love, man, it's a special offense. And what's gonna suck is at some point they're gonna have to start deciding who they're gonna pay and who they're not.
That's
right now. For right now, they better win while they have the shot.
Is this the window though?
Yeah,
this is the window. What about next year?
I think next year you're still square. I think they got like a 3-year window because they gotta jump on a couple guys, and that's the other thing is these guys are gonna be asking for big time money because most of them can be, but they're not gonna have the production to prove they're big time because they spread it around to so many different guys. But second contracts are going to start coming up in about 2 years for these receivers and stuff, and you're going to start paying guys big money. So I'm just going to try and enjoy it while I can because I know a couple of these guys that I love right now are going to be playing for different teams at some point in the future. So just keep drafting and developing. That's all I got. It's the last thing I have on this game. Which one do you want to hop into next?
Texans Patriots.
Okay.
Big Mayday.
He had some moments.
He had he had a touchdown throw that was like on the money, like
yes,
great ball. I don't remember who it was to. Was it Demario Douglas?
I think so.
But I mean, it was on the money. He had a couple interceptions. He's a rookie. The Patriots aren't a very good roster right now. They've been in like a 4-year rebuild, but it's going to take a while. I think now they'll probably start drafting, like, because they got Jalen Polk. Bill Belichick's not drafting Jalen Polk. Bill Belichick would not have taken Javon Baker. Javon Baker, like, I think it's going to take him a little while, but he's going to be a really good receiver. Like, the Patriots will be good again.
Javon Baker is an expert level shit talker, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, unfortunately, Patriots may end up being a good offense again. They're going to have to probably fix the offensive line, though. Those guys probably aren't going to be protecting Drake May next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's kind of how we thought this game was going to go. But I wanted to see Drake May. And we got to see him.
I was excited to see him play.
It was like you had everything from him. He was 20 of 33, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yep.
And he had the most rushing yards on his team.
Yep.
So watch out for Drake May. I needed CJ Stroud to prove that he can completely decimate a team without Nico Collins, and he showed it to me. So, like that, like you have more confidence in the Texans now, like as a postseason, like, hey, you don't want to play this team. Like now I can see that with the Texans and CJ Stroud being able to do it without Nico Collins out there. And Diggs looked good. And so did Tank Dell. And Mixon, Joe Mixon's incredible, dude.
So good at football.
Yeah.
So absolutely good at football.
Yep. I agree with you. Bucks Saints. This game had everything, didn't it?
It was cool to see Spencer Rattler kind of play well out there. He had some moments.
Yeah. Well, it started off 17-0, and then I don't know. Baker he had some moments where it was like, oh my god, like what is going on? And it's what happens when you play a divisional opponent. They kind of figure you out.
Yeah.
And it was really weird because the Saints started coming back.
Yeah.
The Saints started coming back, and then it ended up being 27-24 after the Bucks were up 17-0. And then like I was watching that game, and it just kind of felt like Todd Bowles was like kind of looking around after the second half, and it was like, oh yeah, that's a rookie quarterback out there. Maybe I should blitz him and like maybe throw shit out there that he has never seen. Turns out it ended up working, and Baker, he was all over the place today, but overall he was good when he needed to be. Like he had some great throws. Bucky Irving's awesome. Sean Tucker was that guy. Where the hell did he come from? The Syracuse running back?
Yeah, I know. Hey man, he was like awesome on Twitter in college. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he was. And Chris Godwin, big game. Maybe we should respect Chris Godwin more, the same the way that we respect Mike Evans.
I agree.
Because he was awesome the year they won the Super Bowl. He was awesome before they got Brady. Like him and Mike Evans were like they were like the best duo in the NFL. And it's good to see that Baker like finally has that. Like when he doesn't have Mike Evans to throw to, he's got Chris Godwin that he can also throw to.
Yeah. And
Jalen McMillan's going to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
He's a good wide receiver. I think Baker's working that out with him. But yeah, Baker 24-36, 325, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Damn.
But yeah, I was good to see Spencer Rattler out there. The talent's there. You can tell.
Yeah, no, the talent's definitely there. Like you can see why he was a 5-star guy in high school. Like it's clear. But
yeah, no, I completely agree. Dennis Allen, kind of like the most unrecognizable head coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
Is it because of his name? Like his name is just too generic, Dennis Allen?
No,
or is it because the Saints? The Saints are just like the perfectly average team with like a perfectly average head coach name.
Could be. It could be. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think you're making some good points, man.
Do they put Derek Carr back out there though? Because like at some point, like the Saints are like, hey, we want our franchise, like we want our future quarterback. This guy's young. You got him on a rookie contract. Like, are they win now mode? Like, they're over the cap space. They are going to be in like a 5-year rebuild with how much they're paying some of these players. Marshawn Lattimore's contract's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's the linebacker? I can't even think of his fucking name.
Mario Davis?
Yeah. Mario Davis, Cam Jordan. Like, you got all these players that you're paying. Brian Bercy's been making some, like, impactful plays. You're going to have to pay him, too. I don't know. I mean, you got Kool-Aid McKinstry and, like, you got some of these, like, younger guys that you're hoping to develop. So, you know, when it's time, you can kind of move off of some of these older guys and you can kind of reset the cap.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Spencer Rattler may give you that window, even though he was a 4th-round pick. It's like you might have found, like, you know, diamond in the rough.
I mean, it's definitely possible. Like you said, all the talent's there. Like, he clearly has enough talent to do it. It's just whether or not you think he can actually lead the organization and do it on a day in, day out basis.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, I mean, he wasn't fantastic. He wasn't horrible either. It was just like...
He was a rookie making his first start.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was.
I don't know what to think. I don't know if, like, Derek Carr should go back out there or if it should be Spencer Rattler.
I think it all depends on what they think they can get out of the season. Because what are they now?
2-4.
2-4. And you got 2 teams in your division that are 4-2 looking to run away with it. And then no one's going to be worse than the Panthers this year.
Yeah.
So just one of those things. It's whatever they feel is going to have the most impact on their future, because you're right. At some point, because they're going to have to strip things down, they're going to have to start planning for the future.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know exactly.
If they feel like he's going to be their guy going forward, I think you roll with him. But it all just depends on where their head is.
Yeah.
What's next thing you want to get?
Baker needs to be careful because it looked like he almost had a really bad injury, like that. Like it looked like his knee was like done for, like.
And then he was 2-3 plays later, he was downfield blocking.
Yeah, which was awesome. Like that's what makes Baker the best. Like that's why people like love Baker. Like he's the best, dude. He's the absolute best. I love the guy. Next game, Eagles-Browns. Eagles 20, Browns 16.
Gotta be honest. Had Red Zone on one screen, Green Bay game on the other. Did not see a ton from this one.
I can basically tell you that you really, actually you did. You missed a lot, but it wasn't on the football field. It was what happened with Nick Sirianni, which we'll get into that. But you already know, we've talked about the Browns. There's no reason to go into like the whole Deshaun Watson thing. Like obviously it's torture for Browns fans, but I don't know. I saw a crazy take and it was like, it was kind of an awesome take. Like we might be looking at this thing all wrong. Somebody posted on Twitter and I saw Big Cat talk about it too, but it's like, what if the Deshaun Watson starting is like the ultimate punishment for him? And like, it's like that there's a reason the owner's like keeping it out there. Is like, this guy's so bad at football. We want the world to see. Like, what if
I feel like it clicked over to it and Jameis was playing at some point. Did I see that correctly?
Had a couple handoffs.
Nice.
Yes, Jameis, man. Yeah, Jameis needs to be out there, but I think they're just gonna. It's like the ultimate, like, you're bad at football now. You're like your career is completely derailed. Also, like maybe the Browns are doing the right thing. They're like, hey, we want to show that we support women, so we're gonna put our fans and our team in a detriment to show we support women. We want to. This guy's so bad at football. We're gonna make him. He's gonna be publicly shamed, not only as being a bad person, but as a bad football player too. That guy's mental health has to be absolutely fucked. But I don't really feel bad for him. It's one thing if you make a major mistake. Like if you make one bad mistake and you learn from it, like the college football players, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, no, he's bad.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the Nick Sirianni stuff?
I didn't see a whole lot of it. I heard people talking about it, but I honestly did not see a whole lot of it. What happened?
He shaved his head.
I saw that. He looked like he was American History Xing it.
It was like the Britney Spears thing where like he shaved his head because it looks like he's having a mental breakdown. I mean, like legitimately, it looks like he's gone into like mental breakdown crisis. shaved his head. He like chirped at the fans too. Sorry,
really?
Yeah, he was like chirping at the fans. Like the fans were like booing because things weren't going great. And at one point, going into the third quarter, it was tied 10-10.
Uh-huh.
And you had AJ Brown back. You had Devontae Smith back. You had Lane Johnson back. Like you have your key offensive pieces.
Yeah.
AJ Brown had an awesome game, by the way. And Jalen Hurts, like I thought he looked good, but like it almost didn't click there for a second with it. So I don't know. Like it started to kind of look really rough in Philly, but yeah, like he was chirping the fans, like getting onto them. He did the post game press conference, like he had his kids in his laps, like because like he knew like the questions were going to start coming, so it's like he knew what he was doing. That was a tactic. Like, what are you going to talk bad about me in front of my kids? You know, like I feel like he's having a mental breakdown.
Fuck.
He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's like just too emotional of a guy, and like you need to, I don't know. He's just too emotional, and like Philly fans, like if you can't handle Philly fans who are like some of the craziest NFL fans, probably not meant to be the head coach there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know who they should hire? Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel.
Just bring Braves back.
That'd be a great hire for them. I hope it doesn't happen.
I think it could work. I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, no, Nick Sirianni. That's all I had on the Eagles.
Yeah, like I said, I really didn't see a whole lot from this one. So
the Browns had the blocked field goal. And the
yeah,
blocked field
I saw
goal
that
all the way back, and the fans were pissed about it. And so they ended up winning the game. They barely won against a bad Cleveland Browns team that's tanking, it seems like. And he was like chirping at the fans, like
it's insane.
He was like, yeah, I don't know what he said, but like apparently like he was like, yeah, what the fuck are you gonna say now? And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
That's just like borderline insanity, in my opinion. But
Maybe
I mean, hey, it might be over for old Sirianni.
Yeah. That's really all I had on that. I just wanted your thoughts and your opinion. Colts Titans. Joe Flacco.
Will Levis did it again.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe Flacco, Will Levis. The ultimate matchup. Elite versus elite mean.
Got Will Levis every week.
Let me say this real quick. I like Will Levis a lot, and I think he's a cool guy. You know, we like him.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you just like sit him down and make him the backup and just say, hey, why don't you get your mentals right? Like, why don't maybe we put somebody else out there. Maybe you can kind of learn under them. You can kind of get some stuff right with your head because obviously the memes have to be affecting him. I feel like it's made his play worse.
It's got to be sometime soon because
I feel like it's made his play worse. I think he could be a good quarterback. Like I've seen it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. He does have the talent. He does have the talent, but it almost seems like everything has to be perfect for it to work out, though. You know.
I'll also I didn't realize Michael Pittman was coming back. Like I thought he was still going to be out and injured.
Yeah, I thought so too.
So that if I would have known that, and if I would have known Joe Flacco was starting too and not Anthony Richardson, I probably wouldn't have taken the Titans.
Well, it was Flacco it was Richardson all week until the last minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the Colts believe in their team and they think that they can make a playoff run. Probably the similar situation to with the Browns having Joe Flacco out there. Like the Colts probably see the same thing. Like, hey, this team could be good. We have to roll with the guy that can lead us to the postseason. But kind of, what does that do for your rookie quarterback who you drafted in the first round?
I mean, I think it's all one of those things where you just have to let them learn, man.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, man.
Anyways, Will Levis, he ran into the ball boy. Probably should have had better awareness if you're the ball boy, but what do you expect? He's a ball boy, not an athlete.
Yeah.
Turns out these NFL players are probably a lot faster than you think. Completely destroyed his knee. It kind of reminds me of the chain gang guy from the Lions game. Yep, he had a thumbs up. I love that from him. I'm glad he did that.
It'd be funny if everyone was like, "Yay!"
Do they have a backup ball boy? Like, what do you do in that situation?
Just grab some dude out of the stands.
Yeah.
Hey, come here, buddy. Put your shirt back on. Come here. Take this polo.
Who was the golfer that had to have a backup caddy because the caddy ended up getting injured, so they grabbed one dude from the stands?
Who was that? Damn it, I forget who that was.
I don't remember if it was Scotty or if it was Xander. If it was Xander Schauffele or Brooks Koepka, I don't remember, but that's what that reminds me of.
So funny.
But anyway, yeah. I don't know. I mean, like at some point, I guess you have to sit Will Levis because they're losing these games. I mean, they're close games. Yeah. Like, in the locker room, they're always thinking to themselves, like, hey, we should have won 3 games by now.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to kind of cause divide.
Yeah, yeah, at some point you got to just start saving face out there.
Yeah.
And who knows? Sometimes maybe he just needs to be benched. Just clear his mind. Let him get some stuff out and figure some things. Let him not become a meme for another fucking week. He's got to see it. Everyone sees it. He's got to see it.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if they came into the their weekly team meeting on Tuesdays or on Mondays. It's just the projector screen comes down and it's just the new Will Levis meme.
Talk about derailing a kid's confidence.
I might start doing that. After each one, I might just start pinning them up fucking behind me every week. So I have a whole wall of fucking Will Levis memes. I should start doing that.
I like Will Levis. I hope he ends up getting it figured out. That was the last of the morning slate, right?
It was.
Okay. Real quick, Chargers, Broncos. Glad Jim Harbaugh's okay.
Yeah.
He had to be taken to this, into the locker room. Apparently, he had heart arrhythmia. It was bad when John Harbaugh gets the call during his presser and he has to leave the press conference early. Like I thought something serious was happening. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
My favorite part about that, because I hated that happened and I'm glad he's okay, but it was awesome to see him go into the blue medical tent for it.
Yeah.
Like he's the ultimate player. Like he thinks of himself as the same as his players.
Well, that's why I texted you. I was like, was it a pregame warm-up injury? Because, I mean, remember the clips of him and the khakis and the fucking Michigan gloves, dude. All throughout his time at Michigan, just warming up. And I was talking to my buddy Kyle today. We were getting lunch, and he was like, did Harbaugh shit his pants before the game? Because he –
oh, man.
Dude, it's – Jim Harbaugh, there's, Will Levis level memes, and then level 2 is Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
There's always something. And it's fucking hilarious. And I love it every second of it. I just love it.
I'm a big Harbaugh guy. I have been for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's okay. Yes. Never seemed close in this game. 23 Chargers, Broncos 16. I promise you it wasn't this close.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And Bo Nix, I think he can be a good quarterback. I just think he could be the kind of quarterback that once he puts his team in a hole, he can come back from it.
I agree.
I don't really know. I mean, stat line 19 to 33, 216, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Good to see Justin Herbert being good again. So he was never a bad QB. It's just, he needed the right coach, and he's got the right coach. And this is probably a roster when you look at it, you're like, yeah, this isn't going to be a good football team. And I don't know. I always believed in Jim Harbaugh, so I felt like anything was possible with him as head coach. And they look like a good team. I think they're a good team.
One thing I will say, we didn't talk about it with the Packers game. The Cardinals were just riddled with injury stuff that entire one. Chargers seems like they got a lot of similar things going on. It looks like they're just beat to hell right now.
Yeah. Well, they got Slater and Homie back. Alt.
Yeah.
So that's good. But, I like the Chargers moving forward. I'm a big Jim Harbaugh fan. Next game, Steelers-Ravens. Steelers 32, Ravens 13.
Raiders.
Say Ravens?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Raiders, sorry. Steelers 32, Raiders 13. Finally got the run game going for the Steelers. That was their first. So Najee Harris was awesome in that game.
Yes.
One of the running backs needed to have a breakout. Like they need to be able to run the ball. That offense works best when they're running the ball. And he had that awesome long touchdown. So that's good to see. Raiders are dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Did you see we didn't talk about it with the K-State game. Shiloh Sanders got his shit shook in the hole. Najee Harris also shook the shit out of somebody against the Raiders yesterday. It was impressive.
I feel like with the Raiders, I saw a weird stat, and it was like head coaches for the Raiders in the past like decade since they've done like the coach and then interim coach. I think they're like 80 and it was some crazy number where it's like, oh my God, their head coaches have been bad. And their interim coaches they're 17 and 18 when they have an interim head coach. That's
it all started with Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah.
He came in and
that was Italian discrimination for them not to give him a hire.
Sorry, he's doing great things in Green Bay right now.
I don't want to believe that like Antonio Pierce is like a bad coach. Like I feel like he's all about the right things, and he seems like he would be a good head coach. Like he seems like an X's and O's kind of guy.
Feels like he really fits the Raiders profile.
Yeah, so it's like kind of weird that they're this bad. Maybe it's because their roster just like isn't very good right now. Like it's not terrible, but like it's also just not great. Like maybe they have quarterback stuff to figure out for sure. Like they've got to figure it out and get like a franchise quarterback because that'll solve most of their problems. I don't know, Devontae Adams, I guess he's gone. I mean, there's no way he's going to want to continue to stay here.
Yeah.
So I thought he liked Aiden O'Connell too. I saw something random that apparently like he liked Aiden O'Connell a lot.
I don't know, man. At this point, he only went there.
I think it was like one tweet from an unreliable source.
Yeah.
But if you know us long enough now, any one tweet is a reliable source to us. So.
Well, I saw one yesterday, and I about lost my mind. Like, it was they were trying to grab me by the balls, and they got me like a motherfucker. They said Seth Luttrell has been fired. And then I was like, what the fuck? And I clicked on it, and it said they commented on their own tweet and said, is going to hit like crack whenever it's announced. And I was like, you motherfucker. You son of a bitch. But, yeah, no, I'm all about unreliable sources. I want shit to be as crazy as possible, dude. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's over for the Raiders. Devontae Adams, look, he went from Aaron Rodgers. Only reason he went to Vegas was to play with Derek Carr, and then Derek Carr's gone. So it kind of seemed like as soon as they got rid of Carr, the writing was kind of on the wall that unless they drafted the second coming of fucking Christ, Devontae was not going to stay in Vegas.
I wonder where he's going to go because there's a lot of things to figure out with that. Next game, Falcons at Panthers. Looked competitive in the first half.
Yeah.
And then the Falcons just kind of blew away with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happens when this almost felt like a college game, right? Someone just got out-talented. That's really all that this one was. I don't know that either team really played better than the other one. I just say there's too much talent in Atlanta, which is going to win them a lot of games this year. Or it's going to win them more than it loses them, I should say.
Yeah. I have a question.
What's up?
Should they go back to Bryce Young? Because season's lost at this point, right? Like, fuck it.
You have to see what you have, right? I mean,
or do you want to like keep him on the bench and just like make other teams forget like he wasn't very good, and maybe they'll be like, oh yeah, Bryce Young, #1 pick, Heisman Trophy winner. Let's bring him over.
I think it's also a good thing for his confidence, though, to let him sit behind Andy Dalton, and even if it's going bad, let him learn from Andy Dalton. Like Andy Dalton's been there, has done just about everything. And he's played the league for a long, long time. And yeah, it helps to get reps, right? You want to get those reps because you want to go through it. But he's gotten enough reps at this point. You can't keep throwing him out there and having his confidence just get shot, because while reps are reps, there's only so many times you can run him out there, let him get his ass kicked, let him throw picks, let everyone in the media just trash on him, let social media go crazy. At some point, you just have to let him sit down and almost like a vacation. Just let him just cool off. You know what I mean? And maybe last 5 weeks of the season, they gave him the run to finish the season, and who knows? Maybe he shows some promise. But I think it's dead. But if they want to try to salvage it best they can, they need to let him just kind of reset, in my opinion.
It's crazy.
What's up?
When the Panthers destroyed the Raiders, that was a crazy win for them because the Panthers beat the Ravens at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Remember how crazy that was?
Yeah. Yeah.
How the fuck did the Raiders beat the Ravens and then the Panthers beat the Raiders, and then now everything is kind of healing in the NFL? They had to give us something crazy to start it off. This season's gonna be crazy, and it's no, it's what we thought it was gonna be.
They had to rub everybody in. It's just like
those
fake tweets. They had to grab us by the balls and get our attention, and then be like, "Nah, we're just fucking with you."
So, I think the Falcons are going to be a really good football team, and I think they have the chance between them and the Bucs to win the division.
Yeah.
That's a toss-up to me. Now, I believe more, I guess, in the Bucs just because they've done it for so much longer, and it's their division to lose now.
Also,
I think I trust Baker more than I do the other quarterbacks. But Kirk Cousins, he's playing well. I mean, he figured it out in the second half.
Yeah.
So, next game. Oh boy! Wow.
First of all, go ahead. Sorry.
Lions 47, Cowboys 9. Good God, did they open the floodgates on some of their play calls? That was an absolute revenge game for Dan Campbell. They had a play where they were at the goal line and they threw a pass to Taylor Decker, who was lined up as a tight end.
Yep.
They had multiple instances where they were getting their linemen involved. It's unbelievable how well they've drafted, what they can do with how athletic their offensive linemen were. Frank Ragnow, we talked about this last week when he punched when he was punching Dan Campbell. Turns out he was just fine. He looked good in that game. He was holding up blocks on his own. The hook and ladder was
so awesome.
I'm so pissed that they threw the flag. It was the correct call, but they should not have done it. That was fantastic.
Do you follow Coach Dan Casey on Twitter or Instagram? Did you see he said something along the lines of "revenge is coming to those who throw flag on thick sixes" or whatever. He's right. Like I said, correct call. 11 times out of 10, it's correct call. You're a bastard for throwing that fucking flag.
I know, they should not have.
Especially because it's not like he was wide open. He had to run through a DB to get that.
He just got too far. You get 5 yards. That's it.
I know.
Is it 5 yards or in the NFL is it different?
3.
It's 3 in the NFL?
Yep.
Yeah,
no, it's 1. It's 1 in the NFL. It's 3 in college.
I thought it was 5 in college.
It's 3.
Okay. Well, yeah, he was 5 yards. Yeah. He was 5 yards. Still, though, I mean, it's so funny because, I was thinking to myself, there's no way that Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson don't watch the Travis Kelce, rugby play where he laterals it back, where he lateral it to
P-Run.
to Samaje P-Run. There's no way they don't think, going into this game, wanting revenge, hey, what if we did something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy how talented. That offense is scary when they want to open up the floodgates. And the defense is playing really good. You know what?
Hate that for Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I know. My buddy who's a massive Lions fan, he came down from Austin, or he came up from Austin to go watch that game, and he was so happy. I know all of that was, but he went to go get food, and he didn't even get to watch it happen. he had to figure out by me basically like texting him. And that kind of like, and players were on the ground like crying. Like Jared Goff was in tears. Like he had a lot of players in tears. Like that's how tight knit.
CeeDee Lamb was choked up, dude.
Because I mean, he's such a good player. Well, that's a scary injury to watch in person.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, a lot of players like did not. I mean, that was rough to watch, and I like Aiden Hutchinson a lot, dude. He's a great player. So that sucks for him. You have a Super Bowl team though. Like Jared Goff, never wrote him off. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't write him off, and I felt like he needed some time with this Lions team. And he's just had perfect passer ratings. Guy's incredible, but you need another like big time edge rusher. Mm-hmm. I was watching John Middlecoff. So weirdly enough, I was watching like Colin Cowherd and John Middlecoff talking about this because I wanted to see what John Middlecoff had to say about the Eagles with Nick Sirianni. But I remember him saying like, hey, with what happened with Aiden Hutchinson, how much do you give up to go get a guy like Max Crosby with the Raiders in the position they are?
Yeah.
I mean, how much would you give up a first round and a second rounder for him?
If it wins you a Super Bowl.
Like and that's the thing, it's the unknown is like, I feel like the Lions they kind of have that team with what they have on the offensive line and Ben Johnson. Mm-hmm. Can the Sooners like hire Ben Johnson? Like, is that a possibility? How much do you have to throw at Ben Johnson? Because I love what he does, and like if we can get the recruiting right on the offensive line, he's going to scheme some things up.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish. I wonder how much we'd have to pay him.
At this point, I'm ready to do it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not even a possibility. There's absolutely no way he leaves the NFL for college, but
yeah,
I would like to see it happen.
You can pull a Chip Kelly.
Yeah. Well, Chip Kelly fell in the NFL, so good offensive coordinator though.
Very good.
Yeah, it's crazy how good of a coach Dan Campbell actually is.
Yeah,
the game
I know.
Too. That was awesome. They and Jameson Williams he's figuring out the pass play a little bit. Like, like they're getting him in the middle of the field, like they're throwing the slants to him, which is what they need to do. Like he's no longer this like over the top wide receiver. Like he can run the routes now.
Yeah.
So, and you need that from him. So he's big time player. Amon-Ra basically wanted his revenge on Jordan Lewis, and he got it.
Yeah.
That felt like a statement game to me, though. Like watching that, it felt like they were not happy with how it ended up last. And that's a terrible birthday for Jerry Jones to turn 82, and then his team
by 82.
Basically.
I mean, it wasn't even just for what happened last year. I mean, there's been reports that have gone out like Dan Campbell does not like Jerry Jones. And I think he really just wanted. Yeah, I know. And I think he really just wanted to take it to him.
Like, yeah, and he did. I mean, that was brutal.
Yeah.
That was an ass kicking. And Dak is. I don't know what to make of Dak. I'll tell you this: he's not worth the money that he's getting paid.
Yeah,
he's a good quarterback, and then he's a bad quarterback. Like,
yeah,
he is the ultimate toss-up.
He's a good quarterback. Here's my thought on it: he's a good quarterback, but when push comes to shove, he's not going to be what wins you a ring.
He looks really good when his team is good, but obviously his team's bad. That's usually going to happen. I don't know if he can elevate a team as a quarterback.
That's the other issue.
I don't know. I don't want to talk down on him because I know I couldn't do what he does. But I mean, kind of the reality that when you put a performance like that and you throw those interceptions like he did in that game, then we're going to talk about it. So you have to bounce back.
Yeah.
And they've got injuries. I mean, they're riddled with injuries, but. I mean, they got some big time decisions to make because they just paid CeeDee Lamb. Like, they're going to probably have to move off of Micah Parsons. Like, they're going to have to start over. Like, maybe you trade Micah Parsons to get as much as you can out of him, take it, put him on a team that can win now, Maybe put Micah Parsons on the Lions.
Imagine.
I hope
no.
not.
No, God. I'll be sick to my stomach. I'll be like that Dallas Cowboys fan.
They just
Did you see that?
all in and they get Micah Parsons and fucking Max Crosby.
I'd be so sick to my stomach.
But yeah, they got big decisions to make because Dak is making a lot of money, and CeeDee Lamb is also making a lot of money, which he deserves. CeeDee Lamb, I think that's receivers. It's just their team's not very good this year.
Yeah.
So they got to figure some stuff out. Jerry Jones, that's a terrible birthday present for him.
Yeah.
If you're Jerry Jones, and I told you after 96, hey, that was going to be your last Super Bowl, probably sell the team immediately.
Oh, you definitely ride the high of the Cowboys were at that time. What's crazy is they're more profitable than ever.
Yeah.
But they're also like consistently inconsistent and mid as fuck. They were the laughing stock. They were the consistent 8-18 forever. They were the 8-8 Cowboys. And then they'd sneak into the playoffs every couple of years and get bounced. And everyone's like, what? Well, they're America's team. This year it's theirs. And it's like, no, it never is. And it almost never will be. But
yeah. No, they need to make some trades. Like they do need to I don't think you draft a bunch of players. Like I do think maybe you go after I don't know, go back and get Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
You brought back Zeke. That running back tandem was not bad when they were together. You're going to have to figure out some stuff on offensive line. Obviously, you drafted Tyler Guyton. Tyler Smith's still going to be really good. Well, no, their offensive line will gel. I think it'll get better. Zach Martin's still one of the best guards. So I don't think their offensive line is like the totality of the problem. Obviously, they got bigger issues.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to have to develop Tyler Guyton. And they've been very good at developing offensive line players. And he has a high ceiling. He just has to get it together.
Oh, 100%.
He's still very raw like we thought he was going to be. Yeah, but they'll figure it out. Yeah, good win for the Lions. They absolutely demolished. And it's crazy how we talk about how good the NFC North was.
Yeah.
We talked about how good the NFC North was. The Lions might be the scarier team between them and the Vikings. And the Vikings look really fucking good. Like after watching what they did against the Texans and how they could just continue to go on, there's a possibility that it's 1-1. Like every team in the NFC North finishes 1-1 in the division.
Yeah, I think I said that a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it just feels like everybody's going to beat everybody. And yeah, it's just going to end. Yeah, there's a very real possibility all 4 teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
That would be would be so awesome.
You can't leave out a last place NFC North team if they're 10-7, right?
I don't think so. It just depends on what else happens.
If they're 11-6, if the last place team in the NFC North is 11-6, you can't leave them out.
There's no way they're left out. They would have to, like mathematically, it just wouldn't work out for the rest of the league.
We need to find that same guy who did like the Bengals, like their path to the not making the playoffs if they win out.
Yeah.
We need to figure out like what all the records need to be in the NFC North for all of them to make the playoffs. We need to get a guy on that.
Oh my God.
Last game, Bengals Giants. I had no sleep and I barely watched. I was in and out watching the game, I was falling asleep. Every time I'd open my eyes, it was neither offense could do anything.
That's pretty much all it was.
It was a different win this time for the Bengals. They needed their defense to step up, and they did. Joe Burrow, quarterback was the difference in this game, and Joe Burrow made the big plays when he needed to. He had the long touchdown run. And then he had some pass plays. Chase Brown had the touchdown to go up 17-7. It was a must-win for the Bengals. They had to win that game.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, they definitely had to. Chase Brown saved my ass there because I had obviously Bengals -4, and as we had that conversation last week, that I was like, oh, it's easy cover, no worries.
Is it good for the Bengals Is it good for the Bengals that they won in this fashion? Like that they needed to win with their defense having a good performance?
I think they just needed to win, no matter how it happened. If they won 2-0, they needed to win.
But it's good that their defense showed up, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. I just need to make sure. But yeah, no, there really wasn't much to talk about in that game.
No, the morning slate was definitely the best games. But there were most games yesterday were not close.
Yeah, they're kind of blowouts, weren't they?
Yeah, like the whole weekend.
Yeah, it's like that, College football delivered. I still thought that like it's good to like I'm happy. I was still happy with the NFL just because like what happened in London that morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely beyond me that the Packers Texans game is not prime time, but it is what it is.
Any other thoughts?
No, I'm all good outside of me winning $50 this past weekend, and if this Bengals or not Bengals, if the Bills Jets score holds, another 13 to it, so I'm feeling pretty confident.
All right, man. I want to watch the rest of this game. So
yeah, me too. Well, that is going to do it for the PigSkin Podcast, Season 2, Episode 13. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let us know down in the comments who you want to run OU's offense for the rest of the season or forevermore. And just let us know where you think. I'm not going to say that. That's going to get me in trouble if I put that out on the internet. So I'm not going to say that. But yes, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we will catch you guys later in the week. Likely have a video up Saturday previewing the weekend slate. So keep a lookout for that. And let me find the turn off record button and not hang up here. See you guys later.